Okay, well now how about instead of displaying this silly little label here, let's put a real map view in there. Alright, so let's go get rid of, on our main storyboard in that last detail view controller scene, our map view controller scene, let's go up here to our object library. We'll filter it to map, and we will drag out a map view that in this align menu down here will pin to the sides of our parent view. Okay, add those 4 constraints. And let's go find the navigation item, and let's set our title to be map. Okay, great. Now, one more thing. Don't forget to do this. Go to your project, and under build phases, you want to add a framework. You want to add the MapKit framework. So it knows that we're using the map. All right, good. Now, let's run and verify that it actually displays our map view for us. It should. Don't have any reason why it shouldn't do that. But let's verify. I've got my computer doing a lot apparently. It's taken a while here. Okay, up it comes. You see I've got a map on that one side. I can hit the display mode button item and expand out the map view side. I can pinch and I can zoom and I can rotate and all those good things. All right, very good. Now, some of the time, I'm going to need to communicate from the Scriptures view controller over to the map view controller. In particular, if there are geocoded places like we have for Genesis 2, I want to drop pins on the map, and I want to center the map in the area where those pins are. So what I'm going to do is, let's go back down here to our controllers, and let's go to our Scriptures view controller. And here, I want to create something that's kind of like an outlet. I want to create a reference to a map view controller. But this is going to be a private, in fact, yeah, private var map view controller. But this is going to be a UI map view. No, sorry, it's not UI map view. It's one of mine. It's a map view controller, and I'm going to make this optional. Private var map view controller is an optional map view controller. Now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do like outlet here, and I'm going to make this a weak reference. Because if this gets, I don't want to own that. I don't want to keep it in memory just because I have a reference to it. If nobody else has a reference to it, I don't want a reference to it. I only want it if it exists. And sometimes it'll exist and sometimes it won't. So if I'm in landscape mode, yeah, it's going to exist. It's going to be here because we're side by side and I've got my detailed map showing. There is one. But I go back to portrait mode, there may not be a map view controller. There is there, but now I go back and there isn't one anymore. I click on Old Testament. Let's see, I've messed something up. Anyway, sometimes my Scripture view controller does not have a map view controller side by side with it, and sometimes it does. So I'm going to make it a weak var. And now what I need is I need a little private helper here that I'm going to call it configure detail view controller. And its job is to go and figure out, is there a map view controller available? So how do we ask that question? Well, first of all, I want to know, am I in a split view controller? So if let split VC equal, and now I'm in a UI view controller, there's a property here that's optional. So if it ends up not being optional, then that means I am in a split view controller. If I'm not in a split view controller, I'm just going to nil out my map view controller. Little m equals nil. So, it's totally legitimate that maybe there isn't one. But anyway, if I'm not in a split view controller, I'll say it's nil. But if I am in a split view controller, then what else should I have in my split view controller? Well, zooming out on my storyboard a bit here. Okay, so my split view controller is going to have a view controllers array, just like nav VC that you saw before has a view controllers array that holds all the things that have been pushed onto it. Split view controller has a view controllers array that holds the master and the detail. And the master, the primary, will be the first, and the detail or the secondary will be the last. So I should be able to go back in then here, and I should be able to say, okay, let's see. Do I have a UI navigation controller as the split view controllers, so view controllers dot last item? So if I do, if I can cast that to a UI navigation controller, that means that yes, I have a map view controller. Which one is it? Map view controller is the NavVC's top view controller. Okay, so this NavVC, if I go to my storyboard, is this one down here. I went to the split view, went to its view controllers, got its last. If that thing can cast to a UI navigation controller, then I ask it for its top view controller, which is this one over here. That's the guy that's a map view controller. And now I'll go back. So if that's the case, then I'm going to cast that top view controller to a map view controller. Now this is an as question mark. It could fail. If it fails, it returns nil. And it's okay for map view controller to be nil. So this works for me. All right, and now I have the instrumentation I need in place to be able to communicate from my scriptures view controller to the map view controller. So in particular, if I load a scripture where, and I can go change this underscore to geoplaces, for example. Now I can say, hey, if geoplaces is not nil, or if it's not empty, not an empty array, I can go through and I can add tags, pins to the map for each of those places if I have one, if I have a map view controller. We'll work on that in the next video.